one's for the birds, this one's for the city. This one for the fans that bleed green with me. Push down to 95, to the right is the link. With a team pulling up, knowing that they getting beat. Exit Broad Street, right on Patterson. Xfinity Live, CPP, what's happening? Dub F-Lie, stop by F1. Fly, Eagles fly, you hear the song getting sung? What team in the league is number one? Bird gang, yeah, I said it twice. You heard me say it once, now you sure you heard it right. No lies being told, yeah, it's all facts. It ain't me, Green and Kelly, we don't rock with that. Any given Sunday, we don't ever slack. Yeah, we got an SP, time to run it back. And even on the road, yeah, we taking over. All you see is green like you at the Nova. Care less about your squad, bro, it's only us. A cheesesteak tailgate, yeah, we good, bruh. Beer pong baptism, you already know. Con shot, tomato pie, bring 3 or 4. After every bird gang, you know where to be. 4th of John, NBC, in the heart of Philly. About the birds, all about the birds. EROCK, yeah, that's Hollywood heard. Look up.
Here we go. Boys and girls, welcome to 4th and JAWN, episode 118, live from NBC Sports Philadelphia studios in the heart of the Wells Fargo Center. Well, the Eagles season once again comes to an end. Once again, of a score of 17-9, once again to the Seattle Seahawks. It was a disappointing game. It was a disappointing way to see Carson Wentz leave in the first quarter. It was a disappointing end to a disappointing season, especially when you go back and you think of all the expectations that we had going into this season. All I can do is sit here disappointed that it's finally over. And listen, I look back at this season and I worry that this journey that we've been on together, you, me, everyone watching at home, everyone listening on iTunes right now, I'm worried that this is just one of those lost and forgotten seasons. You know what I mean? This journey, we go through a journey as a family every single season as a fan base, and now it just kind of feels so unfulfilling and lost, especially when you think about all the potential of what could have been. It's a lost season. It'll just be lost in the history books of Philadelphia Eagles history. And I'll prove it to you. Gail, tell me what happened during the 2002 season. How did that season end?
Can't tell you.
Tampa Bay. Last game at the Vet, the game that we should have went to the Super Bowl, the game that closed out the Vet, the game that we should have won. What happened at the end of the 2004 season? Anybody. What happened? Lost the Super Bowl. What happened at the end of the 2008 season? Lost to the Cardinals in the NFC Championship game. What was the 2011 season? Dream team. We all remember that. Disappointed, but we remember the season. What happened in the 2013 season? First year of Chip Kelly, kind of taking the league by storm. What happened at the end of the 2017 season? You don't have to answer that. We already know. What happened at the end of the 2009 season? Does anybody know in here? Does anybody remember? No. Because it was one of those lost seasons. It wasn't a great season. It was a disappointing season that ultimately is just lost in the pages of Eagles history. For those of you who guessed correctly at home, last game of Donovan McNabb's career, lost to the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. Of course we don't want to remember it. It was a disappointing season. What happened at the end of the 2010 season? Anybody remember? Anybody remember the 2010 season?
We're getting near the Jeff Garcia era.
Well, it was the year that we lost to the Green Bay Packers in the Wildcard when Michael Vick threw it to Riley Cooper. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what this season is going to end up being. The Carson Wentz got hurt by Davion Clowney in the first quarter and what could have been season. Now, as I sit here disappointed, and as I sit here worried that the journey that we just all been on is going to be lost to time, lost in the pages of Philadelphia Eagles history, I can't help but feel proud of the guys. I know that's going from one extreme to the other, but I'm proud of the guys. They fought back. They battled back. They got basically as far as they were going to go given the circumstances. They didn't give up. They won a division in a division where you have the Dallas Cowboys who are perfectly healthy and have no excuse for not winning the division besides crappy coaching. We'll get into that one. They battled back. They won the last 4 games of the season against divisional opponents. They believed in Doug Peterson. They believed in Carson Wentz. And ultimately, when we got to the playoffs, people were asking me, you hyped up? E, what do you think's going to happen? E, you excited? And I was just like, look, I'm just happy to be here. Beating the Dallas Cowboys and ultimately winning the division, for me, given the expectations mid-season, which are different from the beginning of the season, but they're allowed to change, that was enough for me. I was just happy to be here. And realistically, even if they beat the Seattle Seahawks, they're going to San Francisco or Green Bay. And how this was not a Super Bowl team. So while I am sitting here disappointed, I'm not angry, I'm not heartbroken, I just feel so unfulfilled. I'm glad they fought back. I'm also glad at this point in the season, the Eagles know everything that's wrong with the team. Going through a season like this exposes all the flaws, as Gail, as you like to put it, all the holes in the boats, so you can no longer ignore or try to patch plugs in. They're going to go into this offseason with a lot of work ahead of them. There's some expiring contracts, some aging players who they might have to part ways with. We'll get into that as well. Who stays, who goes. They've got a lot of work ahead of them, but at least they know at this point there's work to be done. Because not for nothing, the Dallas Cowboys are getting some work done already. Mm-hmm. Not for nothing, the Washington Redskins are getting some work done already. And the New York Giants, they're just going to continue to giant. What can I say about that? Mr. Gail Saunders, Eagle Sessions on Twitter. I know you're disappointed along with me, man. I know you're feeling it along with me, but how are you this evening?
I'm dealing with realities. A lot of during that game, you're like, what if? What if Carson Wentz did not get Ned Starked? He didn't make it even out of the first episode there. The shock and awe on people's faces in the crowd. I wanted to look around for some kind of inspiration, but I could see the soul leave a lot of the fans and left in a desperation mode. Like life, there's a lot of ups and downs. It's a roller coaster. You saw this team rebound. They fought. They had they were resilient. When their back was against the wall, they came out and they fought. And at the end of the day, you got to be proud of the players that stepped up, the younger players that stepped up. Carson Wentz, a guy who's been struggling with this fan base and backing him. It's been kind of split lately. But he showed you what kind of player he was. We were all excited for him to get that first opportunity. It didn't work out the way we thought it was going to work out. But at the end of the day, you talked about, it's just like a lost season. But I think for this particular football team and the players in that locker room, the common denominator when asked about how they're feeling after this game, I felt like that drive in the last four games, the way the team came together, those guys won't forget that. They won't forget the guys that didn't give up. They won't forget the guys that just were on the team for like 3 weeks that came in and gave you something. They won't forget the way that the coaching staff came together and gave us some kind of plan moving forward with all the injured guys, man. At the end of the day, the injuries caught up to us, and we could sit here and this team was really banged up. And a 40-year-old quarterback who was working at ESPN prior. We had guys in the AFL. We had guys that were practice squad players giving it their all. And for Eagle fans out there, you want to see your team excel. But at the end of the day, we got to see heart from this football team.
And in a lot of circumstances, that's really all you can ask for. My man Spencer, who's producing the show, sat with me at the game, chilled with us at the game, and he said to me at some point, I think it was maybe the second quarter, that if you were to tell me in the beginning of the season that we would be seeing Josh McCown hand the ball off to Boston Scott and make throws to Sheldon Gibson in the beginning of the season, I would have called you crazy. I would have asked you what playoffs? Did Philadelphia all of a sudden get an XFL team, or is the AAF still not debunked? Like, what could you possibly be talking about? But yeah, you touched on it, the heart that they showed. If anything, the last 4 games and the last late season push proved to me that these players, this locker room, is still willing to play for Doug Peterson, still believes in Doug Peterson's message, especially, listen, you give that roster to any other coach that's either now fired or even recently just hired in the NFC East, they're not pulling off what the Philadelphia Eagles would have been able to pull off with that roster, with that amount of injuries stacked up with the odds against them. So it showed me that the team still believes in Doug Peterson, plays for Doug Peterson, and believes in Doug Peterson's message. And then we've heard in different seasons, like, yo, just play the young guys. See what they got. Sometimes it's because a starter is struggling. This because it's out of necessity and injuries. But we've got to see those young players and their ability to step up or not step up. We got to see who really wants to be here and who doesn't. We got to see who really is a locker room leader and who really isn't. And that is giving the Eagles front office the tools to make the decisions to get back to where they're supposed to be in 2020. Evan Hollywood Hearn, how you doing this evening, bud?
I'm doing all right. I came into these playoffs, and I really didn't know what to expect from this team, considering the roster that we had going into it, everyone being banged up. And to be honest, I was with probably the 99% of the other Philadelphia fans that just had the life sucked out of me as soon as you see Carson go down. But I agree with everything you guys said. I think it's something to be, this season is something to be proud of with these guys, in that it all seemed lost about a month and a half ago. It all seemed like everything was spiraling. Doug was losing the locker room, but they were resilient. We bounced back with guys that we just seemingly found off the streets. Carson was able to stay healthy the entire regular season. I look at that hit and I don't know who wouldn't get a concussion from taking a double head pounding between the helmet and the ground like that. Like, that's just something that's going to happen to any human being. It's unfortunate. I think that, like, you going back and looking at previous years that the Eagles had this, is this going to be a write-off season? Like, I look at the 2016 season, Doug's first season. He was 7-9, and after that season, we really didn't know what to expect for the following season. We were thinking of another year of progression for Carson Wentz, and then ultimately we ended up going out and winning the Super Bowl. And then, the following 2 years, we had Super Bowl expectations, and they have underperformed. So we're back. To me, we're back in the I don't know what to expect of this Philadelphia Eagles team going forward. I'm obviously eager to see what kind of roster moves we're going to end up making, who we end up keeping, who we end up drafting. But yeah, a lot of work needs to be done for us to get back those expectations to go back to the bowl.
No, absolutely. And Gail, you referenced it during your open, talking about Carson Wentz sort of injury, and you referenced it during your open, talking about I don't know what kind of quarterback wouldn't get injured in that thing. And we're going to discuss the Clowney hit. We're going to talk a little bit about it. But before I do, allow me to echo Dan Orlovsky's sentiments and double down on some of y'all look stupid. Some of y'all just sound stupid, and some of y'all are doubling down on your stupid, claiming that Carson Wentz is injury prone or can't stay healthy based upon that hit. That hit was dirty. Let's make no bones about it. And that hit, any other quarterback in the NFL is going to get concussed. Mm-hmm. That was a hit to the back of the helmet, the back of the head. That is the worst kind of hit you can get for a concussion. They don't allow punches to the back of the head in boxing. They do not allow punches to the back of the head in MMA. A hockey helmet. You see these big old defensive Chris Pronger looking dudes, right? No face guard. Back of the head in case you slip on the ice and boom. That's the way you get concussed. That back of the head, it doesn't matter whether it was Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, any NFL quarterback with Jadeveon Clowney going down and slamming helmet first like a missile, hitting you in the back of the head, you are going to get a concussion. That has zero to do with being injury prone. Zero. It's a dirty hit. It was a dirty hit.
I don't think it's just the hit, the helmet-to-helmet contact. I think it's the quick succession of helmet-to-helmet contact and then immediately slamming your head into the ground. That's just like jostling the brain back and forward. You know what I mean?
And that stuff's for real, man.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I don't, like, I'm looking at the play. I'm not sure if he was like aiming for the head, but I know he was aiming for the shot. Like
Yes.
he was taking,
Yeah.
he was
Yes.
taking that. You know, I'm gonna get a hit on the quarterback. 'Cause
Right.
you see one of his other players kind of step back and held up. But these plays do happen. I mean, if you look back at Derek Barnett when he took out the running back from the Packers, he took him out of the game.
Yeah.
You know, these plays do happen. I think the way that the media, you know, it's shame on you guys. I mean, like for clicks that you're gonna talk about a guy being injury prone because of his brain. I like the guy had a concussion.
It's completely unrelated to his other injuries.
He got
at
hit.
all.
Like if you're walking down the street and someone roundhouse kicks you in the face and you get jumped, I'm gonna blame you for you got jumped, dude. Like it's like
Yeah, you hurt yourself. You're injury prone because you got punched in the back of the head and got knocked the F out.
it's
That's your fault.
it's a bad look on a lot of the media. I like Danny Cannell. I mean, come on, man. Like you're better than that. Maybe you're not better than that.
We'd like to think you're better than that. It's just it. Now look, I realize that I don't want to say it was intentional, right? I don't want to say it was like he was intentionally trying to take him out of the game. But if you don't think that these players, right? These players are at the top of their peak physical ability, and they're also at the top of their decision making. These guys hit other dudes on the daily, whether it's in training camp, whether it's in practice, or whether it's in a game. That's their livelihood.
Yeah.
Anticipating the hit and making a hit. So when you see Carson Wentz start to go down and you see Clowney line him up, he knows where the trajectory is. He knows where Carson's going down. And I get it, that's a bang-bang play to a naked eye. That's a bang-bang play to a commentator. That's a bang-bang play to the coaching staff or any casual fan watching that broadcast. That is not a bang-bang play to a defensive lineman who sees the quarterback's running. He's about to get tackled. I'm about to put some sauce on this hit. Now, I don't want to say that he meant to take him out of the game, but he meant to. He wanted him to feel it. He speared him.
But I
He
mean,
speared him.
But if I'm Jadeveon Clowney, I'm taking the shot. Like I'm just being honest. Like, and if
I get that.
I'm a player. Like I'm looking at Malcolm Jenkins take out Brandon Cooks in the Super Bowl
I get that.
2017. I'm like, yes. As a fan, I'm like, yes. You take that shot when you have it. You know, it's in the back of the head. That's a different story. The way that came out, but ideally, you want to get shots on their quarterback, and if he's in harm's way and you got the shot, take it.
That's what Trey Thomas said this morning on The Fanatic.
Oh, did he?
He texted like 5 or 6 of his defensive friends, and he's like, if you had the chance, would you have taken that shot like Clowney did? And he said 4 out of 5 of them said no doubt.
I mean,
And there's no doubt. I'm not surprised at that answer at all. There's no doubt. Doesn't mean it's not dirty.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't mean that it's not dirty. And listen, I don't think Clowney's a bad guy. I don't think he meant to intentionally take him out of the game. Because look, I can remember times like New York Giants fans saying that Brian Dawkins was a dirty player because that dude used to hit. Now, granted, the rules were a little different. The rules were a little looser. You remember when John Runyon? Remember John Runyon?
Oh, yeah.
Right before the whistle would blow or as the whistle blow, he'd go diving into that pile
Yeah.
head first.
That was
Big old
stop
John
back
Runyon
then.
used to launch himself in that just to get an extra lick on somebody, just to let him know he was there. Didn't mean John was a dirty player. Didn't mean B-Dog was a dirty player. Certainly wasn't trying to get, but it's still, you can see where I'm going with
The
it.
Dawkins suplex.
He's a
you
little
know,
dirty,
like-
a little bit. You're trying to get that extra oomph in there. And I certainly don't want anybody mistaking this. Eagles fans, I know you won't mistake this, but if there's any other fan out there of any other team, I don't want you mistaking this as Eagles fans are sitting here crying like Saints fans about a flag or there needs to be a rule change. Because the flag is freaking inconsequential.
Yeah.
Who gives a damn whether they
Carson's
throw a
not
flag?
coming back regardless.
15 yards isn't going to do us who gots.
Yeah.
And even if you ejected Clowney for some targeting, I don't even know if you could at that point, personal foul targeting nonsense, it's not going to change the outcome of the game. The flag is inconsequential to me. It's that it happened to Carson, and it happened to our guy. And we're not even we're not pulling a Saints fan, we're like, yo, you got to make a new rule now. Like I'm sure Saints fans are going to try to have the NFL make a new rule because once again, they came up short and we got to live and die by what Saints fans bitch and moan about. We're not sitting here doing that. We're just asking the league to kind of enforce the rules that they put into place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, football. It's football. It's a violent sport. It happens. It just happen to our star quarterback while we're trying to make a playoff run. That's why it stings the most. That's why we're still in shock and awe, because we're still thinking, what if, coulda, shoulda, woulda. But we got to deal with the realities, and the reality is Carson Wentz got Ned start.
It's a violent game.
Yep.
I'm not making excuses for Clowney. It was a dirty hit. There's nothing you could do about it. There's no recourse to it. Like, what are you going to do? It's just an unfortunate situation. It's unfortunate that it happened to Carson. And anybody who's out there saying that this is further evidence that Carson Wentz is injury prone is doubling down on their idiocy and trying to make a Nick Foles argument out of something that really should not be an argument at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no recourse. We can get past the Clowney hit. We can get past the Clowney hit. There was other games during the wild card that happened.
How about them Saints?
Some good ones.
How about them Saints? Like, now, Gail, let me ask you, did you see the Minnesota Vikings pulling that upset in New Orleans?
In theory, no. I mean, I thought the Saints would take that one.
Yeah, it was a weird juxtaposition and position to be in when you're standing in the upper level of Lincoln Financial Field. Everyone's on the concourse, and everybody's watching the monitor, figuring out if they want to root for the Saints, who we can't stand, or the Vikings, who we can't stand. Both of them have kicked our butts, and I'll be honest, man. When this Vikings got that ball into the end zone, the top part of Lincoln Financial Field, at least the one I was in, they erupted, man. They started believing again, like, hey, the stars might align and everything might happen. Also, it was nice to see au revoir Tom Brady. The Patriots lose.
The end of an era.
Yes. The end. Well,
is this the end of the
say
era?
that.
I
thought the Eagles, like, I put out tweets about the Eagles ending the Patriots dynasty.
But he definitely lost some steam this year. We can agree on
He
that.
took 2 L's from former Patriot coaches. Miami Dolphins head coaches from Patriots.
I think that's my favorite part about the whole story is that Ryan Fitzpatrick indirectly is the one who kept Tom Brady from advancing in the playoffs.
You're right about that.
Had they win that Miami game, they
had they won the Miami game.
Yeah, they could have had the bye.
But the way
it's that Fitz magic, man.
It's the Fitz magic.
The way he ran that clock down, it was the best thing to see it actually happen to Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
that was the best.
Well, now we
His
get
disciples knocking him out of the playoffs.
Oh, that Vrabel killing the clock move.
That was Bill Belichick-esque.
Oh,
and
it was Bill was fuming. That was part of, even though he's the guy that did that earlier in the year.
Bill all of a sudden was looking over his shoulder for cameras and being like, "What the hell kind of they're doing this? You're Bill Belichick and me. You don't Bill Belichick me. I Bill Belichick you." It was so satisfying to see.
Yeah.
Well,
they got a decent squad. Titans.
Yeah. The Eagles got a lot of big decisions to make moving forward. And one of it is going to be like all the expiring contracts that we have. And we have quite a few of them to try, because I asked you before the show to kind of take a look at the expiring contracts that the Eagles have. And us three up here, we're going to play a little, not start them, sit them, but are they going to stay or are they going to go? So, Trox, take it away.
Well, we all know Darby's gone. I don't think there's...
Ron, they're going to move on from Ronald Darby. I think that's a lock.
We'll go right for the bodyguard. What are we going to do with Mr. Peters?
Oh, my God. This guy says he wants to play another 2 years.
I don't see how. I know there's been discussions and topics of bringing him inside to guard, maybe replacing, say, Amalu. Then you put Dillard on the outside. I just think at this point...
He's 38.
He's washed, dude. Mm-hmm. Like that... We should have traded Yoda. We should have traded Yoda 2 years ago and gotten whatever value we could have.
He had a decent season. He wasn't. I mean, if you look at him play,
death, taxes, and Jason Peters false start.
This is very.
But he had a good. But overall, it was a good year.
He had a decent season. He's still a guy that's going to get a job down the road. But I think.
You think he still gets a job?
Yeah, I do. But I think Dillard. I don't want to prolong. I want the progression of Dillard to happen soon. You're talking about a guy who's showed us some flashes. If Peter said he was like, I'm going to move inside, but I don't think he's not going to do that.
Maybe we could hire Peters to protect your laptop from falling off the table.
Bodyguard over here. But I think it's time.
Oh yeah, you're finally ready to admit it's time.
Yeah, all that.
No, I mean, still, I would have brought him back last year, but I'm saying this year and the following year.
You're digging your heels in on that one, huh?
It's time. It's time. I want to spend that money elsewhere.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I get it. Who else?
What are we going to do with safety position? We got McLeod and Jenkins. Jenkins says he's not going to come back and finish that contract. He wants a new deal. McLeod, I'm going to say he's gone, but what are we going to do with safety, man?
It's going to be one of the more intriguing positions to watch as this Philadelphia Eagles offseason kind of unfolds here. I'm not sure who's available in free agency, but what I do know is that we've got zero depth at that safety position. And McLeod's going to be the cheaper of the two, so I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back McLeod. He played well.
You get what you pay for, man.
You do get what you pay for, but you also got to understand, like, okay, if you let both of them walk, you are now two positions, same position, that you have to fill.
I'm saying instead of
in free agency, it is going to cost you more to go out and get free agents than it is to retain McLeod.
Look at what the safeties were getting last offseason.
Look at what the safeties were. Look at the market that was set.
It's a good market.
Now, granted, you know, that was down in Washington. They have a history of spending dumb money, and you know, Collins is one of the top safeties in the league. At this point, McLeod isn't. You know, he's a B tier safety.
Jenkins, I wouldn't say he's B tier.
No, he's not B tier. He definitely had a decline. Age is catching up with him. But the couple arguments that I would make to keeping Malcolm Jenkins is this. Number one, we thought Dawkins was long in the tooth, and that Dawkins couldn't provide anything on the field, and that Dawkins was washed. And then we sent him to Denver, and he still had a couple of very productive seasons over there. And it took us up until signing Malcolm Jenkins to finally replace his ass. We were trying to replace him with Nate Allen,
Macho
Harris. Kurt Coleman was
Patrick
the mainstay at Patrick Chung.
Nate Allen.
Oh, Jesus. Like all those players we tried to replace him with, eventually we found it in Malcolm Jenkins. I wouldn't want to make the same mistake again. Number two, going back to both of them, it's going to cost you less to kind of keep these guys than it is to find free agents. And how many safety, you got to draft at least one, but you don't want a rookie. Like, you got to address the wide receiver position. There's some other stuff you got to do. So if you're drafting a safety in the third round, you don't want that dude starting day one. What would you do, Gail?
You know, I'm keeping one of them. Ideally, I'm keeping Jenkins. I think Jenkins has showed this locker room what type of player he is by the leadership role that he takes on weekly. Absolutely. He came in. Everyone knew he wanted a contract, but he showed up and showed out this season. Had a stellar season. He's not missing snaps. The guy has not shown that he's injury prone at all. And he showed up like when, you know, other safeties might not have showed up. He knows he has that leadership role to attend to, and he did. I think it was weird that the first, right away he just said, he drew a line in the sand saying that I'm not coming back. Like, he could have said, oh, I'll let my agent in the front office handle that.
He probably felt it was getting a little long in the tooth, though, too, because I think he was expecting a contract at some point during the season.
Especially when you're seeing other players get deals. Yeah. Like Jason Kelsey was talking about retiring, maybe. He got a new deal. Brandon Brooks got a new deal. So you're looking at a guy that can solidify the back end. You remove both those guys, those two safeties protect our weak cornerback play. If you don't bring one of those guys back, I'm bringing Jenkins back. But I've been talking about this for 2 years. Like, in terms of following the money, where the money's going, you're not going to pay $10 million for both your safety. Like, that's why in this draft I was wondering why in the back end of the second there were safeties there to be had in the third round as well that they could have picked up, and they decided to go a different route. So. Yeah.
Are you saying he's got 1-2 year deals left in his career from here on out?
Jenkins?
Yeah. Like
well, he talked about playing 10 years. After 10 years and he's on his 11th year. It was a matter of, how his body felt and how he felt about the football team. He loves this. You could tell he loves this football team. I think both sides are going to come to an agreement on something.
Here's the grenade. What if we need a new coordinator?
I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't think it's going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen. No.
Browns are sticking around.
Browns. Who really wants to go to the Browns, though? Even though Jim Schwartz was kind of once upon a time like a gopher for Bill Belichick when he was over there. I can't. Why would you want the Browns job knowing the turnstile that is their cut? Like,
it's a bad scene.
Why would you want to go in? What part of Jim Schwartz says Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr.? Like, what part of Jim Schwartz is gonna deal with that?
That's a lot of drama over there. And they look at the GM situation. Every year they're like almost firing the whole. They're always rebuilding. Not just the team,
in a constant rebuilding mode.
The back end, the front offices.
And not for nothing. If I'm like a Deuce Staley, I'm not even answering the phone. I'm not allowing Cleveland to ruin my head coaching career. I'm not willing. Like, if I'm an up and coming newcomer coach, I'm not going to Cleveland. That's just going to ruin me and have a bad moniker, like a bad tag to my name for my entire coaching career. And not for nothing. If I'm one of those coaches that was hired, fired, and then became a coordinator like a Jim Schwartz, I'm not trying to resurrect my head coaching career. You know the mistakes you made the first time.
Yeah.
That's why some of the new coaches, like everybody wants a Sean McVay. You know what I mean? Everybody wants one of those style coaches. But sometimes you got to look at like the guys that have been there, made the mistakes, and they're looking on their second go around, because those are the guys that may have failed the first time, but at least they know they've learned from their mistakes. I'm not bringing that knowledge to Cleveland. I'm not going to Cleveland with that. Ben, why would you? Why would you? Why would you want to risk either the start of your career or the only second chance that you might have on the Cleveland Browns?
You got to strike while it's hot. You might not get the opportunity again. Yeah, like a lot of guys were coached before. They got fired. Their name got hot again. If you cool off, you might not get the opportunity again. That's why. And if you go to Cleveland, maybe they give you the keys to the car. You get to pick your own quarterback. A lot of teams are now.
Oh my God! Could you imagine?
A lot of teams are letting you pick your GM. Like let the coach pick the GM. Like if Schwartz get the keys to the car, I wouldn't be shocked if he took it.
He went to like the worst football. Like Detroit, and now he's going to coach for Cleveland. Like those are the two teams. I do not want to coach.
Someone took that Miami job a year ago, and it looked like they were losing on purpose.
But at least you got palm trees, bruh.
You ain't got nothing. We've been to Cleveland. We've been to Cleveland.
Hall of Fame.
So I wouldn't.
Shorty Fody's in Cleveland.
I wouldn't go to Cleveland. Like I wouldn't be like, hey, I'm going to Cleveland this weekend. You throw a couple mil my way, now we talking.
Yeah, but you probably, if you stick it out, you're going to get a couple mil from somebody else. Keep building that resume.
Are you sure it's another?
That's like me graduating college and being like, yo, I'm going to be a manager at McDonald's.
No,
like nobody does. Nobody graduates college and be like, yo, I'm about to rock this Burger King here.
I hear what you say. I hear what you're saying. But like, if someone's offering you this now, there's no guarantee. It's like quarterbacks in college. If they come out now, they might be a top 5 pick or top 10 pick. Yeah. But if they come back next year, they might be the number 1 pick. How often do we see the quarterback come back? Then it falls apart.
I get it. Yeah. I get it. Plus, if you're clear, like defensive coaches, I'm not sure that with a Baker Mayfield, again, with all the talent that you have on offense, you want to go with a defensive-minded coach. I mean, I'm not worried about Jim Schwartz going anywhere. To answer your question about that, Gail, are you worried about Jim Schwartz going to Cleveland?
No, and I've seen a lot of people like, hey, take him, just take him. Like, I mean, Jim Schwartz he's done his thing. I mean, in 6 playoff games, his defense has allowed 17 points per game, led 2 top 5 ranked defenses in 4 years. I mean, we need some offense around here. I'm not going to blame Jim Schwartz.
I think he did an admirable job given the circumstances this year, and if I'm not rooting for him to leave. If he comes back, I'm happy about it. Be careful what you wish for, man, because like who else you got in mind? What other defensive coordinator do you want out there? What other defensive coordinator? Like if you can't name somebody to fill the position, then maybe you should just stick with the guy who's not doing that. He's not great.
I mean, what is
he's not Jim Johnsoning it?
Juan Castillo doing, man?
Let's bring Juan back. To get back to the safeties, I think there's a way to work to get both of it done. Rodney McLeod on like a B tier deal, and maybe Malcolm Jenkins on a front loaded 2 to 3 year deal, which, and Howie speak, is really a 1 year fully guaranteed deal, and then pretty much team options for the second or third year. Who else we got? Who else we got down the list?
We got the defensive line. We got Vinny Curry and Timmy Jernigan.
Vinny Curry, I can do with
Vinny's going on 32, and we got
talking to the mic there, man.
Oh, we got Vinny Curry's about 32 now, and Jernigan's 28. They're both.
I like
you think
Timmy.
Any of them are back? I think both of them might come back.
I think Jernigan showed some, fight coming back from these injuries, but he's had injuries 2 years in a row. I think you move on from him. I think Vinny, he's a role player. He got 5 sacks this year in limited role. I think he likes being here. You can get him for, a bargain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a role player.
I would flip flop those two. I would keep Timmy around.
He's going to cost you more though.
You really think so? You really think Timmy's going to cost you more? And then
we
look,
get what's his name back next year.
But
Malik Jackson.
But I think some of the younger defensive ends have kind of proven that they can fill that Vinny
Josh
Curry
Sweat.
rotational, situational.
You have Hassan Ridgeway, and then you also they like Rush as well.
Plus, they're going to go out in free agents and get another rotational defensive end, and they're going to draft one as well.
Yeah.
Who else you got?
We got. It's the last person on defense. We got Hill and Mills.
Camus, I would like to see back.
Does Mills go to safety?
I'll take Meek Mills. No, I mean I think I just don't. Jalen Mills has a certain type of swag that I love as a football player, but he is a liability when it comes to burners. He played safety in college, but are you moving back there?
If he goes to a new team, does he dye the hair that color?
We kind of have to. It can't be the Green Goblin anymore.
No, I'm saying, does he just go au natural, or does he die? Does he fall back into?
How Jim Schwartz loves him some Jalen Mills.
Brown, or does he go orange if he goes to Cleveland?
Okay, so Darby and Mills are gone. Let's assume that. Who are your starting corners? Who are your starting corners?
Here we go.
Said the kid.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you bring Jalen Mills back.
Good point. But
But here's
what's your choice?
this is the example. Guys watching at home, listening to it on iTunes. This is what bad drafting gets you. Mm-hmm. This type of conversation. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean they missed out on some guys, man.
They didn't draft guys that should have been, and they missed on picks.
They've had a problem drafting cornerbacks for years. Name me the last cornerback that's been effective here. It's been a long time.
You want to talk about effective cornerbacks? Victor Williams, friend of the podcast, found a pretty good stat on a guy that was available during the
Philly
year.
Pod, yeah.
Minka Fitzpatrick. After that trade, the final 8 games of the year, he was thrown at 2 times.
That was my that was a good trade.
He locked down one entire side of the field, and that's the difference that an elite cornerback makes.
Prime, did the Steelers make the playoffs? No, they didn't make the playoffs.
Quarterback. Their quarterback.
Did Jalen Ramsey and the Rams?
Not at all.
I don't know. Okay, so probably with all the discussion that we're having right now,
we should go for the worst quarterbacks.
No. It's probably a good thing that we kept those 2 first-round picks. It's probably a good thing that we kept those 2 first-round picks, because it sounds like just talking about the defensive backfield that we got a lot of positions.
The cornerbacks at
the end of Clowney, you're right.
They need a foundational piece at the cornerback positions. Like me and you growing up, you got Troy Vincent, Bobby Taylors, you got like
Eric Allens,
Lito Shepard, Sheldon.
Sante.
Like those are foundational guys that you grow with. We have not brought pieces like that in, and if you go week in and week out, it's not a good look. These safeties, back end safeties, have been phenomenal. It's got to happen soon. They got to get a cornerback.
They have to get a cornerback, and it's a good thing they have the draft
asset. Some people about Byron Jones from the Cowboys.
Ben likes it. I like it.
I like it too.
I like it. That's fine. You want to toss some money at it? Toss some money. You don't got to toss all them draft assets at it. You can toss some money at it.
Got some speed.
He got some speed. I'll take him.
Let's get a couple offensive players now.
Yeah.
All right, this is the easiest one of them all. Mr. Nelson Agholor.
We don't even need to answer that one, man.
Dude, I cannot wait until I can stop talking about this dude. I'm so sick of him. I mean, even listening to his bumbling explanation Did you see him, like, his exit media interview?
He had a nice hat. That
I
was a
know.
nice hat.
I was like,
That
come
was a
on,
nice
stop
hat,
rocking
yeah.
the Kelly green, bro. That's my stuff.
Yeah, you're ruining the brand, bro.
Think about it.
But talking about, well, this injury is kind of a tricky injury. I really don't know much about the injury. There's this guy in Pittsburgh about the injury. I got to learn more about the injury. So why didn't you just go on IR? Well, you don't want to rush. Somebody might come back from it. Like, he didn't even know. It just seemed like he didn't even know about what was going on. And Dave Zangaro, NBC Sports Philadelphia, he was in the locker room, said he saw his knee, and his knee was swollen. So it's not like he's making it up. But he's like, listen, you don't want to. Why weren't you out there? Well, it's a tough injury. It's tricky. You don't want to damage it some more. Why didn't you go on IR? Well, I could have played. There would have been some discussion. Well, which one is it, Nelson? No, he's gone. I can't do it.
Nelson, it's
I can't talk about Nelson.
it's the end of the
today.
road.
One of the
It's
writers
Boys
said that
today.
he was walking around collecting all of his players' jerseys in a bag. So he was like,
He knows.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
just
Adios.
think about
He did a Brandon Graham the other day. He went and shook all the reporters' hands. That was his exit out.
Did he drop any of the jerseys that he received from the players?
Did he try?
All right. I'm not gonna put dirt on his grave. I'm just saying. Thank you for your your play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It just didn't work out here. Sometimes a change of scenery is needed, and that might work for Nelson Agholor. Or getting, he needs some sports therapy.
Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Who do we got next?
All right, so now, I don't know. We have maybe a quarterback situation. Sudfeld's a free agent as well. McNown's probably going to be gone. Wentz is Wentz, so we might be getting a new backup quarterback. I don't know. You think they draft one late? I don't know.
Oh, God.
Oh, here we go.
Here we
See?
go again.
Joe Flacco.
You know?
You just gotta.
I think you can find another journeyman veteran that's not going to cost you a lot of money that can fill that role and hope that. Well, listen, I would take a Ryan Fitzpatrick in a damn heartbeat.
That swag here.
Yo, I don't care what you say about that guy or how many teams he's been on, dude. Everybody loves him and everybody plays hard for him.
McCown was on a ton of teams.
Would you take Case Keenum as a backup?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
I know what I'm not doing. I'm not wasting a 5th-round pick on a project quarterback and then cutting it so he can go to the Cowboys. Clayton Thorson. Can you believe that, again, why are we having this conversation about aging players with expiring contracts, players with false-ass bum knees? Why are we bad drafting? It all goes back. Go ahead. Who we got next?
Well, we all know how you feel about Jordan Howard. You probably still do. What about the rest of you guys?
I think we've seen enough from Miles Sanders and Scott to do we want to if you can get him back for a deal.
Well, let me put it like this: we have 2 on this list: Corey Clement and Jordan Howard.
Corey's out.
Corey's gone.
Corey's gone.
At this point, I'm off the bandwagon. If he comes for if he comes back for a deal, what you're gonna pay?
You think he's gonna make bank out there?
No, if he does,
he's not.
If you can get him back for a deal, then it makes sense. But I've seen enough of Miles Sanders to know that the kid's got the juice. He's explosive. You can get another power guy, journeyman type. But are you going to pay Jordan Howard $4 million, $3 million? You're paying Miles Sanders $5 million for the next 3 years.
But here's
I need a deal.
And you're going to get a deal because Jordan Howard's not going out there and making a splash in the free agency market. Not coming off of injury. Yeah. Not honestly, not after this season. 26, so he's young. It's not like he didn't bust his ACL. All right, this is not a Jay Ajayi situation. He didn't break his back. He's not coming off an ACL. He's coming off of some weird stinger sort of situation.
Maybe.
Regardless. Key to your success for winning that 2017 Super Bowl was having not only a stable of running backs, but running backs with different capabilities and different strengths that you could use to exploit a defense. Again, I can't agree with you more. What Miles Sanders showed at the end of that season, the second half of that season after Howard went down, that kid is going to be something special. Yeah. He's a little bit of Brian Westbrook, and you sprinkle in, you season it, right? Yeah. As you like to say, season it with a little bit of shady. If Boston Scott's going to play that Darren Sproles role, damn it, sign me up. I need another 5'6" dude to carry that flag for me. I am all about it. And then if you can have Jordan Howard playing that LeGarrette Blount role, because what happens if Sanders, Sanders, right? Walking boot.
Sprained MCL.
Sprained MCL. Now, that's not going to keep him out of OTAs or mini camps. He's going to be fine. But what if that were to happen midseason? Now it's the Boston Scott show. You're going to lean on that guy? No, he's a great change of pace back. He's a great third down back. He's young. He's hungry. But damn, what did they say about Darren Sproles? You can't rely on that dude to tote the ball 20 times a game for a full season. It doesn't make no damn sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you can have a stable of 3, Jordan Howard, you know me, sign Howard 2020. Let's go.
Halavoti Vaitai. Did I get that right? I tried.
Halapuli Vat.
Big V.
I mean, we lose Peters.
No, he's going to get
got
paid.
2 right tackles out
He's
the
going
door.
to get paid. And if he gets paid, that's we'll get a comp pick after that. If he gets a big contract, don't we?
I don't know. You the man.
So, okay. So who's Dillard's backup?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We still rocking with the Aussie, the Thunder from Down One Under? Jordan Milora. He's back.
Down Under.
Okay, well, since you brought that up, we did bring it up in the show before. Remember the whispers of him training to be a center? What if Kelsey retires? Who's our center then? Is he?
Siumalu.
Oh, okay. So is that what? Okay.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna need
you
a
better
guard.
you
Well,
better
then
you better
Jason Peters to the
left. You cannot with Carson Wentz, not injury prone, but again, we saw what happens when offensive linemen get beat. Jason Peters.
Mm-hmm.
When offensive linemen get beat, the quarterback gets hurt, right? We've seen it a couple times for a couple seasons. So if all of a sudden Peters is gone, Kelsey decides to retire, Big V gets, not that Big V's anything great, but he's a backup. All of a sudden, not only are you have question marks along your starting offensive line, but now you got question marks along. They got to throw either some money or some draft assets. Again, isn't it good to have draft assets?
They got some picks coming.
Yeah, I know. What is it, projected 10?
In those
10
picks?
picks?
Third and fourth rounds,
Good.
they got some picks.
Good. They're bound to hit on a couple of them, right? They can't be that bad.
You think?
They just throwing picks around for Jannard Avery, you know. We didn't even see that, bro. What's going on here?
Who else do we got? Do we got anybody else?
Certainly not least Mr. Cameron Johnson. He'll probably come back.
Cam Johnson.
Our punter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good job.
that's a layup. That's a layup right there. Speaking of the future, talking about like what are the future opponents? Because I kind of glanced at it. I didn't take a strong look at it. What's the 2020 schedule looking like, Prime?
Our 2020 schedule, our home games. Of course, we have our division: Dallas Cowboys, Washington Redskins, New York Giants, and then we have Los Angeles Rams.
It's a tough one. That's not easy.
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, these guys again. I am so almost. I am so sick of playing the Seahawks. There's just something about them that we can't beat them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Baltimore Ravens.
Oh God. Oh man, that's a brutal home schedule.
Jimmy's coming north.
But wait, there's more.
Cincinnati Bengals.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
And Drew
Burrow.
Brees.
Drew Brees and the Saints.
Paying us a visit.
Man.
They ain't.
So we got the Saints, the Ravens.
Ain't going to the playoffs.
Dude, that's a tough home schedule, man. We're gonna need that home field advantage for that one.
Next year could be the start of the Drew Brees decline, though. He's another year older.
But next
He'll be,
year,
42
next year the Eagles have receivers. Weapons.
What are the away games looking like?
The away games, we have the Arizona Cardinals.
Like it.
Like it.
Cleveland Browns.
Like it.
We're going back to see.
we're going back to see Schwartz.
Shorty.
What's up, Shorty? Yeah, sure. We're going to yeah, we got to find him. That'll be the mission. That'll be the show mission to find Shorty 40.
We have the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
All right.
San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers. And then, of course, our division games.
We got to try to make. Trox was talking about making that Lambeau trip. We got to try to make that Lambeau trip.
Dallas Cowboys, Washington Redskins, and your New York Giants.
By the way, can I say it? Can I talk about it? Can I say it?
As long as you say it with your chest.
I don't want to say it with my chest, but I do think the Dallas Cowboys possibly might have made the best decision they could have possibly made in finding a head coach, and that's Mike McCarthy. Given what's out there, given the options, and given the state of the team,
Gail, go.
I just think
I see you looking side-eyed.
I just think Jerry Jones found another victim, and he's just like
Another puppet.
He's like, all right.
But when has McCarthy ever been a puppet to like the Green Bay ownership.
He is outspoken.
Dude, he slept at his house over the weekend.
He's like, you want
Yeah,
some,
but
you want some
that's, you know,
popcorn? Sit on my couch.
What is that? Explain.
I don't know. Maybe he needed a place to crash.
That's
He's
weird.
been out of coaching for. That's not. I mean, maybe. Yeah,
Was McCarthy's success
Michael,
more him or was it Rodgers?
Come to my lair.
well, that's what you.
He
Watch
had,
the
he had,
episode of The Friends.
he had Rodgers. He had Rodgers.
That's what I'm saying. Like when you have an elite all-time quarterback like that, like it's kind of you kind of look at him with a slanted eye. You know what I mean?
A little bit, but I both think the Green Bay Packers did Mike
He's got
McCarthy
experience.
dirty by firing him, like not letting him finish out the season. I think that was dirty. I also think that Aaron Rodgers, when he digs his heels in and says, like, I don't want to work with this guy anymore and pouts about it.
What, the
he's
guy
gonna-
that cut out his own family?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, perfect example.
Yeah.
So I can see the Aaron Rodgers argument. I'm not saying that he's going to have great success out there in Dallas. I just think given the candidates that were out there, given the options that were out there, given Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and the offensive weapons that they have, hiring Mike McCarthy was the right move for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm just kind of, I don't even want to tip my cap. That's my 2 cents on it. That's my take on it. They did the right thing.
What is your thoughts though on like Mike McCarthy is not historically a very good not very good with the run game, and to go to a team with like pretty much their main weapon on offense being Zeke Elliott, one of the elite running backs in the game. Like, do you think that he's going to be utilized the wrong way? Do you think?
I mean, you got Zeke.
Yeah, you got Zeke. You use Zeke, and that's the downfall of Jason Garrett because he forgot to use Zeke when times when it was important to use Zeke. And not only that, but Aaron Rodgers never really had up until recently, up until the last couple years with what is it, Williams?
You throwing dirt on Eddie Lacy's name right now?
Yeah,
Eddie Lacy,
Yeah.
Jamal Williams,
Yeah.
Aaron Jones.
yeah. He had Aaron Rodgers hadn't had a running game up until recently, so that's kind of like you're kind of working with what you're working with. Oh, Ben's got the mic.
Fat Lacy.
Ben's got a take.
Nah,
Ben take.
I got nothing to say about Fat Lacy. What do you guys think about the Cowboys trying to fire Jason Garrett, but he kept on showing up to work? Like,
No, it was an office space scenario, bro.
That was
kept
the
on showing up.
softest firing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was like, well, maybe if we just stop paying him and let his contract, he's going to end up like Milton from Office Space. In the back. Excuse me, do you have my stapler? I set the building on fire.
Somebody stole my stapler.
Excuse me, I was told I had moved my office down the.
Where's my paycheck?
I was told by payroll.
Exactly
He was
that you.
outside
He
the
just,
gate.
he just doesn't leave, yo.
Just clapping.
He's just clapping away. Excuse me,
Scanned in. Oh, it worked.
I need my chewing gum, please. I was told there would be chewing gum.
Yeah. I was hoping that the Giants would take the clapper because that would have been a great move for us
Yeah,
and the memes.
Also, can I say it? Can I just come out and say it?
say it.
I think the Redskins did the right thing in hiring Ron
Oh,
Rivera.
100%. I agree with you on that one.
I think that was the best head coaching move that they could have made. Now, is he going to find success in Washington with Daniel Snyder, knowing how that guy likes to meddle and the whole thing? No, but you're talking about a guy that brings in instant credibility, okay, that's well respected around the league, that demands respect from his players.
Yeah. His
His players like him. You never heard a bad word about him coming out of Carolina.
Nice team guy.
He's a team guy. His players play hard for him. Is that ultimately going to bring them to success?
Got Jack Del Rio too.
Yeah, Jack Del Rio.
Like, listen, that's a great team. I think both the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys possibly made the best head coaching decisions that they could have made, and the NFC East arguably got better by proxy.
I like the moves
I'm
that.
glad Matt Rule didn't go to the Giants.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I like the moves that Washington made. I think you're looking for culture change. I think Rivera can do that. I think Jack Del Rio has got a lot of experience. I think as long as Snyder just lets them do their thing, they'll be okay. But I like our chances. You're looking at 3 teams in the NFC East with different head coaches and staff changes. If we have some stability here and continuity, I'm not saying we got to bring Grove back, but I think we have
That was one that was left off the list.
we have a solid base coaching staff right now, and I think if you can get the right pieces in here, we should be able to control the East.
Got it. All right, let's get on to some Twitter. We're 55 minutes in. Let's get into some Twitter questions. Time flies, Spencer, when you're having fun, isn't it? When you're miserable after the season ends and you're talking about it, Yeah, time flies. All right.
All right. So Kevin P. Trump wants to know, bigger surprise, Greg Ward or Boston Scott?
Oh man,
I'd say Greg Ward, because I saw the flashes from Boston Scott. I posted a lot of his runs in preseason. Greg Ward was a guy that, with the situation around him, he rose to the occasion. Not to say that Scott didn't, but he showed everyone what kind of juice he had when there was no other playmakers to be had.
You heard really good things about both of them in training camp, like really, really good like on the bubble guys, but should make the roster, and then they kind of bounced around. I don't know. I'm equally pleasantly surprised with both of them, and I think they've both earned the chance to be significant contributors next season. I've called Greg Ward our Victor Cruz, Boston Scott the next Darren Sproles on this team. I think they're both going to play pretty big roles, and I'm equally as happy with both of them.
I'm just happy they got all this experience.
But as a 5'6" dude, for somebody to carry that flag, Boston Scott, you do me proud. Proud to be your brother. Proud to be your 5'6" brother in arms. Damn right. Damn right, Trox. You're damn right. What else we got?
All right, so Bingo is my name-o. He wants to do stay or go. Instead of with players, he wants to do it with coaches. So we'll quickly go through it. Grow, easy one, right?
Out. Go away. Put him in the bathroom.
Undlin.
I got questions.
Bathroom.
1 foot in the bathroom.
Press Taylor.
In the bathroom.
Bathroom.
And Walsh.
Oh, locked it, flushed down the toilet. Not even in the bathroom. Just swirly, like dunk swirly, flush the toilet.
And finally, the curveball. Dr. Arsh Donata, the chief medical officer that was hired last year.
You know what was kind of funny? So I was at work, right, before this, and I didn't have any chance to do any show prep. So I go to Chickies and Pete's. I roll into Chickies and Pete's. Now I'm going to get myself a sandwich.
Dr. Arsh was there?
And no, Dr. Arsh was not there.
Did you get some?
But you know who was there? Green Legion Radio, and Dave Spadaro was there. And we asked him about, like, we can't go into 2020 and right away start having the same injury problems that we've been experiencing. Mm-hmm. The next man up thing was cute in 2017. It's not fun anymore. It's not fun to constantly be injured, constantly. It's like Club Med Tent. That blue thing is popping up, popping down like the damn circus. Mm-hmm. All right, we're sick of these injuries. And he said, listen, they're exploring everything. They know it's an issue. They're exploring everything from the medical staff to the training equipment they use, to the way that they practice, to the type of equipment that they're using for on the field. They realize that it is a problem, and they are trying to figure out the solution. It could be just a matter of aging veterans, the way Doug has his practice schedule, not hitting during practice or anything like that, the type of training staff that they have getting these guys ready, and just bad luck.
Maybe the smoothie ingredients have to be looked at.
Believe it or not, that's the only thing that was held over from Chip Kelly, is that damn smoothie machine is still there. That smoothie bar is still there outside.
Too much ice cream, bro.
But they know it. They're not going to say out in public, like, look, we know this is an issue. Or then they're not specifically saying that the training staff or the medical staff is an issue. But they know it's a problem. They're trying to figure it out. There's no easy answer. It takes some time.
All right. Chris Go wants to know, the people want to know, where the hell was Jordan Howard?
I don't know.
I just don't think he was right. I think if he was right, they would have gave him a go. I mean, he's the ground and pound guy. I don't think he could pound at that moment.
I think Sanders was on fire. Scott was on fire. It was vibing.
You didn't think there was any room for him?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that question. He was dressing. He was ready to go.
He got one play in the Giants game.
Yeah, I honestly, for the life of me, I can't figure it out why you wouldn't rotate him in for a couple plays just to change up the pace. I don't know, dude. It's a lost season. Going back to what I said during the open, it's just a lost season. Do you have the? I don't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. Sway. How, Sway?
I got an East as a
How, Sway? You ain't got the answers.
Oh
What else we got? Anything else?
Yeah, one more from Total E Kyle. I said, what positives do you take away from this season, or what do you look forward to?
I look forward to. Gail, you want to take this one first?
I look forward to a healthier team. I mean, look at how many injuries we've had. You think it can't be any worse than this year? I mean, ideally, in theory, it can't be any worse. I think the maturation process of like Sanders, that's exciting. He looks like he could be elite. Carson Wentz with some weapons. This offense. I mean, the offense really has to get. It really needs to. We need some juice, man. Like they're one of the reasons why we didn't go as far as we wanted to. A lot of injuries on the offensive side of the ball. We just got to get healthy.
I look forward to the entire puzzle that is problem solving. So, some people just like and enjoy, okay, here's the situation, here's the problem, solve it. And I'm looking forward to watching the Eagles kind of go through that process during the offseason. There's no more hiding. I said this during the intro. Gail put it eloquently when he said holes in a boat. You can't keep patching the boat. The boat's got to be put up on the dock. The boat needs a whole new hull. Otherwise, that thing's going to sink all over again. So I look forward to the fact that they know what the issues are on the roster. I'm looking forward to free agency. I think they're really going to be active in free agency. I think they're going to be active via trade. And I'm excited for the draft. I know they haven't drafted well.
Activate draft Gale.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Gail's draft analysis.
I'm putting my resume in. Y'all better get it right.
Yo, I can hook them sneakers up, and I can get them draft picks right. Yo, hire me. I can be the official swag coordinator.
He smelled out Goddard months in advance.
Customs.
I just think, it's imperative to hit on these draft picks moving forward. Like, if you want to ball on a budget, the only way you ball on a budget is by hitting on these draft picks. Not just from 1 to 3, you got to hit 4 to 5, but when you're having problems drafting in the second round, that's an issue. You can't be missing on guys. But I really think, we want wide receivers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the wide receiver draft class. So they've got to get their hands on one.
I hear you. All right, before we get on out of here, just a special shout out to Ben and Spencer, who we've been working with all season here at NBC Sports Philadelphia. The plan of attack is to go up until the Super Bowl, until further notice. At that point, we have to talk business and see where the show goes from there. Are we coming back on a bi-weekly basis? Are we continuing this thing through the off season? Are we doing just a draft show, a free agency show? We got some back office things we got to take care of, square away, and get some answers. But as soon as we know, we will certainly pass along that information to you. Just know either way, we will certainly be here for the 2020 season. Regardless, we're not giving up on you, just like you never have given up on us. We appreciate all the new listeners who have checked in, all of you watching right now on Facebook and on YouTube, and those people who are clicking subscribe and rating and reviewing on iTunes. Thank you to the sponsors, Concha Hawk and Bakery, for everything they have done for us this tailgate season.
Yeah.
Thank you to Monster Energy Drinks. Thank you to Bud Light for everything that they have done. And once again, thank you, the listeners, the fans who have come to the tailgate, who listen, who watch on YouTube, who watch on Facebook, who listen on iTunes. The feedback that we get from you guys keep us going. Because I know we can't pan around the cameras. We're in a room. We come in. We throw this out into the internet, and we don't know what happens to it. We talk into these microphones, and it just goes out to the internet, and the internet has its way with it.
Yeah.
But when we hear that feedback that, we like the content that you've given us from a fan's perspective, you make us feel like we're there. You make us feel like we're part of something. I didn't have a home before 4th and Jawn. Now I have a home to go to, whether it be at tailgates. It makes me feel like I'm back home. We appreciate that type of feedback, and that's what keeps us going.
I'm just proud of the environment that we've all created, not just us here in the room, but the fans who've participated by coming out to the events, the meetups, the tailgates, the road trips, just being a part of this whole experience. At the end of the day, we've had the time of our lives. We've made memories. We've made really lifelong friendships. These tailgates, like E said, you get to talk people face to face, make the connection, and really hear what they like about the show. And it's great that we provide some kind of entertainment, also some analysis. But at the end of the day, like, as a diehard Eagle fan, you get us, we get you, and that's really what we're about over here.
I like the way you phrase that, the environment that we've all created.
Mm-hmm.
4th and John is not EROCK. 4th and John is not EROCK and Gale. 4th and John is not EROCK, Gale, and Kevin. 4th and John is everybody in this room. It's Trox, it's Prime, it's Ben, it's Spencer. It's everybody who shows up to the tailgate, everybody who tweets into the show, everybody who supports the show, everybody who, when we put out that link, they retweet the show, everybody who hits us up on Instagram, everybody who shows video of them watching video of us on Instagram, the people who watch on Facebook. This is a grassroots, fan-based movement. We're glad that you are here with us. And once again, we thank you from the bottom of our heart. We'll be going with you until the Super Bowl. But until next week, let's go Birds, and we will see you then here at NBC Sports Philadelphia.